Ongoing assessment. What is it and why I think that it is the best way to learn about my students' performance and progress in class. Introduction. Traditionally, teachers and students were always trying to get ready for one big summative assessment at the end of a term. This one big assessment is usually a test or questions about material that students learned. I remember when I was a school student, I was stressed by the end of each term because I had to go through the entire, for example, history textbook and try to memorize dates, names, and events that took place 300 years ago. I was taught to memorize without having a chance to use critical thinking or making meaningful connections in my brain. Then standardized tests appear. And again, students had to mechanically memorize information and strive to get the highest score possible. I was taught to bring good grades home. It was enough to show an A to my parents to make them happy. They never asked about the most important thing, the performance in class. I don't blame them. They were taught in exactly the same way. I have been working as a teacher for more than 17 years, and as soon as I started to teach, my goal was to make my students be educated and entertained in class. I was trying to make my lessons more interesting, engaging, and creative. My way to understanding the importance of ongoing assessment. In my whole teaching career, there was one question that parents and school administration would ask me. Would I be able to go through all units of the textbook by the end of the academic year? My answer was always, it depends. It was usually okay with my private class students, but not so often in public schools or training centers. My goal was always to make sure that students are comfortable with new knowledge, vocabulary, and grammar, and only then I felt like moving on further in the textbook. I love playing games with my students. One of my favorite games that I have developed for my students was this. It's a combination of several games, so you draw a little grid, put 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, or colors instead. Then you put symbols. This is what you draw on a piece of paper that nobody sees except of you. We can see freeze there, B is a book, CR is a crocodile game, PIC is Pictionary game, RPS is rock, paper, scissors, question is a question from the teacher, times 2 means their score doubles, the skull means they lose all their points. So in this game we have several games like rock, paper, scissors, dice, Pictionary, gesture game, and music. So once you've gotten ready with the game that you have on a separate piece of paper that nobody sees except of you, you draw the same grid on the blackboard. And on top you can put numbers or colors if you're studying colors, or names of students maybe. On the left side you put A, B, C, D, or whatever you want. It depends on the content of your class. So you also draw the rules for how to play the dice. So if they roll 1, it's 100, etc. You divide your class into 2 teams. For example, 3 students in one team, 3 students in the other team. They play rock, paper, scissors game to detect who will start the game. For example, the left team won and they start. For example, they choose to open A2. I look in my paper and it says A2 is a book. The second team chooses A4. A4 is music. 200 points. Then the left team chooses C2, which is freeze, which means they skip one turn. And then the next team goes B3, which is the skull. The skull means they lose their score. Kids really like to play that game because it excites them. You go through the book, for example in A2 they open B means book, so we need to open a book and study for, let's say, 5 minutes. Because this game includes many other activities, it's never boring for students. You can change them from one class to another. You don't have to play this game every time, of course, but from my experience, kids just loved playing that game and they were ready to play this game every class. You can integrate any game with this one. So you can put any kind of activity in those grid boxes. As you can see, it is engaging and all my students just loved playing this game. I think it is a good example of ongoing assessment. Funny thing is that I didn't realize that it was. My intuition and creative thinking helped me to come up with several games for my students to make them learn, reflect, show progress and performance in class while playing. It's not a secret that our brain absorbs information better if it's interesting and entertaining. We sometimes lose track of time and don't realize that the class is over. My way in IB. For the past 2 years, I have been working in IB school with primary years program, children aged from 3 to 12 years old, where this kind of teaching is encouraged. There are no grades in PYP. Can students learn without grades? Yes. Can students learn without ongoing assessment and quality descriptive feedback that comes from teachers and students themselves? No. It can be formal or informal. Formal is planned in your lesson plan, and informal is your comments on the spur of a moment that motivates students and helps them to be sure that they are on the right track. Assessment in IB. Let's see what is assessment from the IB point of view. PYP and assessment. Assessment is the gathering and analysis of information about students' performance. It identifies what students know, understand, can do, and feel at different stages in the learning process. Assessment embodies a holistic design incorporating both a backward and forward-looking approach in which feedback is integrated with learning and teaching. Schools build an assessment culture which focuses on developing assessment-capable students and teachers. Teachers monitor, document, and report on learning using an integrated ongoing process. The exhibition is no longer required to be a summative assessment. Instead, it is seen as an opportunity to support student growth through the means of formative assessment. Why do we assess? First of all, to collect data about educational process. Collect data about students' achievements, details that need extra attention, strong and weak points. Progress of each student as well as the class as a whole. Plan actions in teacher-student system. We need assessment for students' self-esteem and motivation. In IB language that's called agency. We need assessment to evaluate effectiveness of methods and programs used. We need assessment to show information about learning process to students and their parents. What are we going to assess? We are going to assess the 4 essentials of IB. First is knowledge. That means program of inquiry. Second is transdisciplinary skills or ATL. ATL means approaches to learning. That's the new term in PYP Enhanced. Action and key concepts. So let's see what we mean by each. Knowledge or program of inquiry is a program for the whole school year that includes themes that needs to be gone through by teachers. Young learners only need to go through 4 units of inquiry, and the rest of the school needs to go through all 6 of them. ATL. ATL means approaches to learning, basically transdisciplinary skills. For example, thinking skills, social skills, communication skills, self-management skills, research skills. Action is a big part of IB PYP. Here is a picture of action cycle. Act, carry through with my choices, reflect, think about the consequences of my actions, choose, make choices based on my reflection. Key concepts: function, change, reflection, causation, perspective, connection, responsibility, and form. Now let us talk about ongoing assessment. Let's start with general assessment strategies. Why do we need assessment? We need assessment to observe. We need assessment for results. We need assessment for monitoring the process. Assessment can be in a form of free artistic assignments. So observation. A teacher observes students often and on the regular basis, concentrating on the whole class, on one student or from the inside the group taking part in an activity. Results assessment. Students are engaged in assessments connected with different aspects of real life. These assignments presuppose having several ways to solve the problem, so solutions can be divergent, and there can be more than one correct answer. Assessment of the process. Observations are documented to create a detailed picture that will increase validity of fair assessment. The system of documentation is optimized in favor of saving time. The most popular methods are diary and checklists. Free artistic assignments. Situations when students are asked to provide a creative answer based on their own opinion. Now let me share some examples of assessment strategies. Back-to-back brains. Have the children stand back-to-back, each with a notepad. You will ask the class a question. The children will write or draw their answer, then turn to their partner to share and compare the answers. This is followed by a quick reflective discussion about their experience and observations. Did they answer correctly? How could they build on this answer? Were there different perspectives? Who used the best strategy to solve the problem? Function of this assessment is as follows: useful for a quick assessment of their knowledge gained from a recently learned strategy, such as maths or recalling information from informational text or unit, etc. How can this assessment be followed up? Use this as a way to include the children in evaluating their understanding and choosing to have additional group time with you for more guided review if necessary. Human graphs encourages collaboration as a group or a whole class. It's simple and gets your children up and out of their seats. Simply present the class with the problem that relates to the class. Have them put themselves in a line in order, or as a human bar graph in order. For example, create a human graph to show who has dogs or cats or combination, or line up in order of shoe size, for example. There are so many variations on this theme. Want to really challenge your children? Have them do this in complete silence. Oh yes, it is fun to watch, believe me, and you will really see the leadership skills from a few coming forth. Function of this assessment. This assesses communication skills, thinking skills, and social skills on top of knowledge, depending on what you are sorting and ordering. How can this assessment be followed up? Great for taking anecdotal records. I have filmed this activity in the past and watched the process in action. This presents a great opportunity for reflection of the class working together, working in groups, and self-assessment as to who participated well or not. Chain link challenge. A fun pre-assessment that allows peer feedback. Present the whole class or a small group with a question. The children will then write their name and their answer on a strip of paper which you'll have provided. I like to have a basket of them on each table group to allow for multiple questions or for anyone who wishes to change their answer or make a mistake or something like that. Pass a stapler around the group and have each child create a paper chain by stapling their strips of paper into a circle and looping it to the next circle and so on, thus creating a paper chain of answers. The questions can be varied from group to group along a common theme. For example, give 3 adaptations of an elephant or a rabbit, etc. Or you can have one question for everyone in the same class. This chain of answers will then be shared and discussed in their small groups, each person chatting about their answers, reasons, strategies. It allows for a lot of peer feedback. Ticket out the door. Easy to use as self-assessment. Function. Easy and well known, this method is basically an exit ticket that reinforces reflection, which in turn encourages students' ownership of their learning and allows the teacher a snapshot of how each student feels about their learning for the day or week. For example, you can write 3 things that you learned, 2 connections you made, 1 question you have, a sentence to summarize your learning. These can be written on sticky notes and posted on the door on their way out at the end of the day, thus allowing you to quickly read over them. They can be printed onto exit slips, completed and put into a basket on their way out at the end of the day. Or you can have the children write in their reflection journals and share their thoughts with the class during a reflective time. Reflection journal. Informal and builds the habit of reflecting. In its simplest form, it is a notebook that we use as a journal of our thoughts and reflections as we go through the school year. These are designed to develop reflective thinking skills with a focus on each unique learner's profile. But keeping it simple for assessment purposes, you can bring the focus of reflection for a particular day to one thing and have the children write their thoughts as sketches, a brief paragraph, traffic lights with an explanation for their self-assessment, or one of the following: a key concept, a line of inquiry, the central idea, a skill. With student agency being reinforced through a mostly self-directed journal, this tool gives the children the training and practice with self-reflection and goal setting and owning their own experience as a learner. Perspective Peak. Great pre-assessment tool with a focus on perspective. For early years, give the children a selection of pictures that connect with your central idea. Then ask them to sort the pictures into groups with the question, which pictures connect? If you are looking at people who help our community, for example, give them pictures of a police officer, fire truck, and a robber, and have them sort the pictures into categories of those who help the community and those who don't. You can then share their results and have them chat about their thinking, how they compare with their friends. For grade 2 to 6, Give the children a list of statements prior to a new unit, asking them if they agree or disagree with each statement. For example, volcanoes are a part of the rock cycle. They will then explain their perspective based on their background knowledge. Discussing these answers puts a wonderful focus on perspective too. Throughout the inquiry or at the end of the unit, hand the sheets back to the children and have them reflect upon the statements once more and see if their opinion has changed with their newly acquired knowledge. Function of this assessment. These are fantastic as a pre-assessment and post-assessment tools and can be used with any subject. I like to use them as we unpacked our new unit and again reflecting upon our knowledge at the end. They are a form of self-assessment for the kids too, once again promoting greater students' agency. Inside-outside circles. Fabulous for promoting peer input and its value to self-assessment. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Another great activity that gets the kids up and out of their seats, communicating and forming and changing opinions based upon peer feedback. Have the children form 2 circles. One circle will be around the outside of an inner circle. The circle on the inside will be facing out and the circle on the outside facing in, so that each child is facing a partner in the opposite circle. This can be used differently. For example, ask a question to the class and have the inside circle give their answer to their partner on the outside circle. The outside partner will then respond with their feedback. Then the outside circle will rotate to the next partner so that both inside and outside circles have a new partner. Ask the same question and answer again, asking the children to assess how their answer changed based upon the feedback of the first partner. Another way is ask the children to give a brief summary of what they know about a particular concept or line of inquiry. This can be something to do with your unit of inquiry, a math strategy, or reading skill, for example. Rotate the circle, sharing with other partners and sharing perspectives. Follow-up would be ask the children to reflect on how other people's opinions and feedback help them to further develop their understanding or lead them to ideas for action steps towards self-improvement. These are just some examples of ongoing assessment strategies. I would be very glad if you could share your strategies so I can add on to my collection. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you liked it and found something useful for yourself.